Hi there. So today we'll be talking about gold as an asset class. So it is one of the asset class that has been there for ages. Even before equities or bonds were born, gold as an asset class was there to be take readily exposure in, right? And India as a country has this strange affinity towards gold where people like to wear it and also hold it in various forms, right? So it is often joked, and it's actually true, that there are more jewelers in India than banks, right? If I have to tell you the total gold present in the world, it is somewhere around 2 lakh tons. And if I take the current spot rate of around 1800 ounce dollar per ounce, the gold's worth today is somewhere around 12 trillion dollars. Whereas the world stock market capitalization, the equity value of the whole world is somewhere around 90 trillion dollars, and the gold value is somewhere around 12. So gold as a percentage of stock is pretty limited. It's somewhere around 12 or 13% only, right? But gold is the only asset class that is readily convertible into your cash, right? Equity or bonds can be converted into cash form. You can sell it off in the market, but their value is derived by the performances or the operations of that particular company or interest rates. So there are many underlying assumptions and many underlying factors that are driving the prices of equities and bonds, but gold is the only asset class that actually holds value. So JP Morgan said this once, that gold is money, everything else is credit. So the equity that you invest in or the bonds that you invest in is actually going to a company to run their operations, right? You are in fact just uh, giving them a line of credit, but gold as an asset class is actually the money, right? Equity in secondary market is not actually giving out money to the company, but in a way, the first round that they did in the primary market, the equity was primarily used to fund the operations of the company, right? But gold is money, and all the currencies in the world where firstly their value was derived in terms of gold, right? So gold always had a money's worth, and it is often used for risk management. So this is a pretty interesting chart which we wanted you to know, that gold prices vis-a-vis your equity prices and bond prices have been very non-correlated, right? They are very uncorrelated, and hence it provides you with an instrument which is very effective in terms of risk management, right? Correlation of gold with respect to equity is almost zero. If you look at this figures, it is almost zero. This is S&P BAC Sensex. So with respect to Sensex, it is almost zero, and with respect to bonds, it is negative. So if there's a negative correlation between gold and equity or gold and bond, what does that mean? It means if the equity prices are moving down, gold prices can in fact move up, and if the bond prices are moving down, your gold prices can in fact move up and give that stability of returns in terms of portfolio, right? So that is the power of gold in terms of risk management. It is a very effective risk management tool. Warren Buffett, one of legendary investors, has been bashing gold in terms of asset class. He has been very against it, but even he bought gold recently during the pandemic, because he is of the opinion that that can provide some flooring to his falling equity portfolio, right? Ray Dalio, which we have of whom we have talked about in our first class also, he has been very vocal about having gold in your portfolio. He has been always driven in terms of portfolio approach, and he feels that gold can provide you an edge in the times when nothing else is working, right? So you should always have some part of your portfolio, particularly that can be around 7% to 16%, which is one of our research that says that 7 to 16% of your portfolio should be parked in gold to have that flooring in terms of your risk returns, right? And it is often said that gold is a store of value, right? Warren Buffett didn't take active exposure in gold because he was of the opinion that gold will not provide his portfolio the returns that he wants. But if you look at this interesting chart where we have plotted S&P 500, which is the world's index, we can say that, and gold has in fact beaten the returns of S&P 500 in the last 50 years of its existence. S&P 500's existence. Gold returns year on year, the CAGR return is around 7.7%, whereas S&P is only 7% if your dividend is not reinvested. What does it mean? So, all the equity companies, major of them, give out dividends, right? Which are then reinvested if the investors feel so, right? The dividend comes to you and you can reinvest the money that you have received back in the market. That is called dividend reinvested. So had one reinvested his or her returns back in the market, the return could have been around 10%. But if he or she haven't exposed all his money of dividend back in the market, he would have just got a return of 7%, which is typically lower than the gold prices, right? Or the gold returns. So gold is not only a store of value, but it can actually create value for you in terms of capital returns in a longer run, right? Gold also helps you with dollarization of portfolio. So someone who's sitting out of India, what they can do is gold prices are marked in terms of USD, right? It is either marked in terms of London exchange in their currency pound, or it is marked in US in terms of USD. So whatever gold you are exposing yourself to, the money is not only getting invested in the gold as an asset class but also in dollars. So let's say the current rate is somewhere around $1900 per ounce. The prices increase by, let's say, $100 and goes up to $2000 per ounce. And similarly, your dollar, which is around 75 rupees per dollar, it goes up to, let's say, 80 rupees per dollar. You can in fact gain with this dollarization. Not only will you gain that $100 per ounce, you will also gain this 5 rupee exchange gain when you basically sell off your gold. So that is the power of gold in terms of dollarization. It not only gives you exposure in terms of gold as an asset class, but also dollar as a currency, which in fact has given a lot of return in the last 5 years or so, right? And this is the typical chart of all the asset class in the last 10, 5 and 2 years, right? So gold has given somewhere around 9% CAGR returns, whereas Indian stocks have given a return of 11%, right? In the last 10 years. In the last 5 years, gold has given somewhere around 7% or 8% kind of return, and equities have given somewhere around 9.5% kind of return. But in the last 2 years, gold has in fact given a return of 15%, whereas equity has given a return of only 11%. So what we mean by this is gold as an asset class is not only a store of value, but it can actually create long-term gains for an investor if the exposure is right? If you have taken a right exposure in all the asset classes in terms of asset allocation, you can in fact gain a better return as compared to having all your exposure in just one asset class, right? And this is something very interesting. Gold as an asset class has negative correlation or almost zero correlation with S&P, right? S&P 500. But that negative correlation only happens when S&P 500 is going down. If the equity prices go up by 2 sigma, that means 2 times of their standard deviation. Standard deviation basically tells you how much are the prices of your index moving. Let's say your prices are moving in terms of 20%, that tells you your prices can go up or down by 20% at any point in time, right? That is the risk that you are taking. So if S&P 500 prices are in fact going up, the correlation between gold and S&P 500 turns out to be positive. So it's a win-win situation, even if the S&P 500 is going down and even if it is going up. The S&P 500, if it goes up, the correlation between gold and equity in fact turns out to be positive by 0.29. That means if the prices or if the returns of S&P 500 is plus 10%, the gold returns can be up by plus 2.9%, right? And when S&P 500 in fact goes down, it wouldn't have any impact on gold. It in fact can go up. So gold as an asset class not only range bounds your losses, but it can also improve your profits when every asset class is working, right? It's a very interesting chart of the last 50 years where we have comprehended that gold as an asset class not only has negative correlation with equity but also tends to have positive correlation when equities tend to go up. And this is similar chart for more such fall. If the S&P falls by 4 sigma, the correlation tends to be minus 0.6. That means if the prices of equity is going down by let's say 10%, your gold prices will in fact move up by 6%, right? And this is for Indian context. If Sensex falls by more than 2 sigma, the correlation is somewhere around minus 0.1. And if Sensex falls by let's say 3 sigma, which is 3 times of standard deviation, then the correlation tends to be around 0.45 or 0.5. That means if the Sensex is falling by let's say 20%, your gold prices can in fact move up by 10%. So not only it provides a flooring when your equities are facing a troubled times, but it also provides a win-win situation when your equity prices are in fact moving up. It's a very important understanding you can take away with. And this is a hedging strategy that many US fund portfolios have deployed. They actually ranked all the asset classes in terms of different parameters, may it be returns, volatility, risk adjusted returns, and maximum drawdown, right? And there they found out that gold as an asset class has the maximum risk adjusted returns, right? Risk adjusted returns basically means per unit of risk how much of the return is coming in. Let's say your return is 20% and your risk is 10%. Risk basically is quantified in terms of standard deviation. So returns are somewhere around 20% and your risk is somewhere around 10%. That means 20 divided by 10, that means 2% or 2 times of your risk is coming in as returns. So you are better off taking that kind of risk, right? Because your returns are far superior. But in terms of equities or in terms of silver or in terms of bonds, the risk, the underlying denominator tends to go up, right? So even if you are gaining high return, let's say for equity, your returns are somewhere around 30%, but the risk is somewhere around 30% again. There your risk adjusted return is only 1, whereas in gold it was somewhere around 2. So for the risk that you are taking, how much is the return that you are garnering? That is called risk adjusted return. In that parameter, gold secures first position, whereas equities or bonds tend to go down. And particularly, if I have to talk about bonds, they secure somewhere around third position, whereas the volatility index futures, which is basically your equity exposure, that tends to be ranked towards fifth position. So in terms of risk adjusted return, gold is very well placed, right? And hence you should always have some portion of your portfolio parked in gold. So we have talked about gold. Why is it a good asset class? Why everyone should take position in gold? How a portfolio can actually be protected in terms of risk if the portfolio has an exposure in gold. But how can you really take exposure in gold? We will be talking about that now. There are basically 5 instruments or 5 means of taking exposure in gold. One is physical gold. You can go out and buy the biscuits or gold jewelry or bars, but there the prices tend to go up, or the prices are quite steep as compared to the raw gold prices. Why? Because there's a markup associated with making that gold into that particular bar or jewelry form, right? So direct ownership is great. It will have that satisfaction of having that physical gold, but there the prices are quite high as compared to other options, as well as you will need to have a storage option available, right? You will need to have your lockers, you will need to have some place to deposit it, which again can come at a cost. Second option of taking exposure in gold is gold bonds, which Indian government come out bi-monthly. Every 2 months they will come out with a gold bond, wherein they fix up a price. Let's say it is somewhere around 5,000 rupees. So 5,000 rupees is the underlying 1 unit price of that bond, which will have impact only when gold prices move. So as the gold prices move up, so will the underlying value of your bond. But here you also get 2.5% kind of interest over and above your capital exposure, right? So you are not only getting the benefit of your capital appreciation, the bond price is moving up, but you are also getting 2.5% worth of interest on your exposure in gold bonds, which is great. Third way of taking exposure in gold is future contracts. You can actually go out in equity market and buy future contracts of gold just like any other commodity, right? So it is highly levered. You can take exposure in gold as high as 100 crores only if you have 1 crore or 2 crore. It just future contract can have a very highly levered position, and it is also time bound. So all the future contracts expire on the last Thursday of the month. So thereon you can also roll over. You can roll over n number of times. You can have that exposure for months to come. But ideally the contract expires every Thursday of every last Thursday of the month. So there you can take a levered position, but it is also time bound. Fourth way of taking exposure in gold is through ancillary stocks. You can buy stocks that have ready exposure in gold, or they trade in gold, or they mine gold. So there are gold mining companies, there are jewelry companies, and there are ancillary companies who give out loans on a collateral of gold. So there's Manappuram Finance, that falls into third category. There's Titan or Tanishq, which has jewelry, so that falls under second position. And there are gold mining companies also, in which Warren Buffett has taken ready exposure in recently. So that is the indirect exposure in gold that you can take. The fifth mode is gold ETFs. So there are various exchange traded funds available where you can take exposure in by just buying their units. It is as good as buying future contracts, but there you cannot have levered position. So they are highly liquid, and also involves a very small fee of somewhere around 0.1%, right? So that is fifth way of taking exposure in gold. So primarily there are five modes: physical gold, gold bonds, future contracts, indirect exposure, and gold ETFs. In our opinion, the best way of taking exposure in gold is probably gold bonds, because there you are not only getting the capital appreciation but also an interest payment on your exposure. So that is it for the gold part of asset classes. We'll be moving ahead with the next class. Thank you.